everyone. For anyone who is new to Touch Day webinars, and this is your first one, hi, I'm Emma Cole, a friend of the Touch Day team. You've probably seen me do webinars in the past, but we're back with the Touch Day Academy to hopefully share lots of useful information and new features, and lots of great things happening in the STR world. And specifically today, we're going to talk about how you can streamline your short-term rental business with AI and automation using Touch Day. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll jump in. A tiny bit of housekeeping. This is being recorded and the link will be sent to everyone who has registered. So even if you haven't been able to join us live today, you'll be able to watch this back at your leisure. And the slides will also be shared afterwards as well. So you'll have everything. I highly recommend everyone has their phones close by, because there'll be lots of QR codes for you to scan. I love a QR code and there's lots of great resources that you'll be able to access as we go through this webinar that is relevant to the theme today, and resources that you can use well after today as well. So I will just check. Yep. If you have any questions, the chat box is disabled. You can use the Q&A. So please use that if you have any questions, and I'll get to the Q&A section at the end. So I'll share my screen and we'll be off. Lovely. Alrighty. Super. So hello. As I said, I'm Emma, and the theme today is streamlining your STR business with AI and automation with Touch Day. So I've already done a bit of housekeeping and explained how we're going to go today. So let's crack on. Alrighty, so what we will cover today. So the first thing we'll look into is how you can use some new Touch Day features to create your guidebook in minutes. So if you're new to Touch Day, this is a really fantastic tool for you. If you're not new to Touch Day, well, wait to the next section and we'll really focus on automating guest messaging and how to find efficiency and time savings there. And then a few more about AI functionalities we have that can help you run your business more efficiently, and a new upgrade to Touch Day that will help you manage your guides on the go. So let's crack on. Super. So if anyone here is brand new to Touch Day, we are the digital guidebook solution for the short-term rental industry. And we have everything, hopefully, that hosts and guests need in one simple tool. Here you can see I've listed some of our features, and I won't dig into all of these, but I'm really going to focus today on the real flexibility and template-based focus we have in Touch Day that makes it very, very easy for you to add your content to Touch Day, get everything in there that guests needs to know, and easily share that with them as well. So if you're new to Touch Day, this is a nice one to come back to and have a think about some of those features that we have. But for everyone who's already using Touch Day, I won't bore you with this, and we'll jump straight in. So one of the themes today is efficiency, and you're probably thinking, you know, why efficiency matters. And that might sound like a silly question, but actually it's an important one to address before we move on. So if you're in the short-term rental industry, the vacation rentals world, you've got a lot of different tasks and things that you're juggling every day. And if you can't be efficient, you can't make the most of your time, you're going to struggle to keep your guests happy, manage your team, and grow your business, which I imagine is the goal for a lot of people here today. So that's why we're here to talk about AI and some of Touch Day's AI automation features, so you can run your business a bit more efficiently and put that time back into making sure your guests have a great time during their stays with you, and hopefully so they come back again and again. And let's be honest, it's just to remove some of that stress from your day-to-day. And I think we could all agree that's no bad thing. So what's a nice way that we can do this? So first of all, I'm going to talk about Touch Day's new feature, which is AI guide creation, and how you can generate a complete guidebook in just a few minutes using AI. So this is brand new from Touch Day, and it's really a very useful tool if you're getting started. So if you're new to Touch Day, you're registering your account and getting started, this is how you do it. So it's very, very simple in how it works. All you have to do is take the link to your Airbnb listing. So just that simple link from that page, you pop that into Touch Day during the registration progress. You can add your logo and your branding, adjust the colors of the guide, review all of the information that's been pulled in from that Airbnb listing, and then start sharing it with guests. So Essentially, all you do is pop that Airbnb listing into TouchStay. We pull in everything that you've already created in that listing that you've perfected and made beautiful in Airbnb, and we populate that into your TouchStay guide. Sounds super simple. It's a really elegant solution to get you up and running nice and fast. And I thought, rather than me talk about it, I can show you. So I did this myself just to test it out and make sure it works exactly as I've said. I don't have an Airbnb listing of my own, so I picked a random one. And I'm going to show you this video now. So you can see how it works and how it takes just a few minutes. So here we go. Right now, this only works for Airbnb. If you don't want to do this and you want to manually create your guidebook, here it's asking me if I want to connect my Airbnb account. This is a fantastic integration of the office. Now, fetching the listing data from that URL that I pasted in a minute ago. So this will take just a minute or two, but let's see. For example, just repulling in all of that really wonderful information you've already populated on your Airbnb listing. You don't have to create it from scratch or copy and paste into your TouchStay account. I'm going to mute the video and speak myself because I'm not sure if the sound is working super well. So as you can see now, the video has pulled in all of the data from my Airbnb listing. And you can see on the right-hand side, this little preview here. And it's showing what the cover page of that guidebook will look like. So if we scroll down a little, we can see the images, we can see the title that's been pulled in, we can see the property location and the street address, which is wonderful. And all those nice pictures have been pulled in too. And if you look at little edit buttons on the right-hand side, the little edit pencil, you can see how you can edit and change these details as you go. So you can remove some things if you don't want them, or you can add them, make any changes that you want and click save. You can see the different policies that have been pulled in, if pets are allowed or not, or if smoking is allowed or not. And then you can see the contact details for the host as well. And you can see this attest with my name on it. And so here you go, this is everything that has been pulled in. And you can also at this stage change the color scheme of your guidebook. So I'm going to change this now to a quite bright purple color. You do not have to choose these colors. You can choose whatever you wish, but just to show how quick it is to change things around and see what it will look like from the guest view on that preview. So once you're happy with everything and made any adjustments you want, you click Generate Guidebook. And that's the button that you click at the bottom there. This will then read through all of the changes that you have made and get all of that information that we've just previewed there and pop that into your short-term rental guidebook template in TouchStay. So this is the screen that you would see as you're going through this process, and it just takes a couple of minutes to process everything. It's generating guidebooks. You can see all the different steps it's going through. It takes just a minute. So yeah, we're at the final step, creating your guide, and here we are. And so this is all the information you have now pulled in from Airbnb is in your TouchStay account. You can scan this QR code to have a look at what your guide template looks like. Here you can also copy the link to be able to copy that sharing link to start sharing it with your guests, which is super helpful to have there. And then you can also click preview in a new tab. So this opens up your guidebook on a different view. So this is the desktop view. So obviously on a phone, it's optimized for mobile, but this is what it looks like on the desktop, just so you can have a look around, look at all that information that's been pulled in, look at that lovely purple color scheme I've added, and there you are. And if you want to keep on editing, you click continue editing, and here you are in the back office of TouchStay, where you can add, adjust, change any information that you want. Lovely. So that's how it works. So it just takes a couple of minutes, super simple. And I just wanted to show you that to demonstrate how easy it is. So I'll move on now. Lovely. So just a bit of a recap of what you saw there. So it really makes it super simple to create a complete guidebook in just a couple of minutes. You'll pull in from that Airbnb listing your Wi-Fi code, access instructions, descriptions from your property, those contact details, and crucially, all of those local recommendations that you've put in there as well. So all of that will be populated in your guide. So everything you've already made look beautiful in Airbnb. You don't have to write that all out again. It's already done for you. So if it exists in your Airbnb listing, we're pulling it in to TouchStay. So hopefully, if you're new to TouchStay, you want to give things a go, and you're getting things set up, this is a really nice way that you can get started a lot faster and get done in just a couple of minutes. Lovely. So what next? So for those of you that aren't new to TouchStay and you're thinking about other ways that you can be more efficient and use TouchStay to automate some of those really important things. So talking about efficiency, another thing that's critical to ensuring that your guests are happy, confident, satisfied is guest communication. You may think, can't I just leave my guests alone? They've got their basic information from the booking platform or from your website. What else do they need? Well, we answered this question and many more questions around guest communication and why it's important and why it matters to your guests in our 2023 guest communication study. So what is the guest communication study? Well, so we have this really fantastic study, and I recommend if you scan the QR code on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, this will take you through to a free download of the guest communication study. It's just jam-packed with really useful information and recommendations and best practice around guest communication. But a couple of the key points that I've pulled out here. So when we surveyed guests, they told us, we saw that more than a fifth of guests are missing information. So they just don't have the basic information they need to enjoy their stay. They've got to ask questions. 69% of guests said communication from their hosts influenced the likelihood of their leaving a positive review. Now, we know how important reviews are for helping bring in new guests, new customers, and to really reflect a high level of trust in your business. So that's super important for you. And then finally, less than half of guests felt very well looked after. So if a guest is coming to your property and staying at one of your places, you want them to feel well looked after. You want them to leave feeling good. So hopefully they'll book again. They'll share with their friends and family how much of a great time they had. So, this is not what we want. We don't want less than half of guests to be feeling well looked after. We want everyone to be feeling well looked after. And the key way of doing that is improving how you communicate with guests. Now, of course, that can be really tricky. How can you offer that same level of hospitality and care to every single guest? Well, we have a solution for you, and that solution is called Memo. So Memo is our messaging assistant that helps you take the guesswork out of your guest communication, especially if you're new to hosting, you're not where to start, or you just don't think you're nailing your communication. This is a really useful tool for you. So Memo is your messaging assistant. It's how you can set up messages, send them to guests through TouchStay. And just 3 simple steps. So the beauty of Memo is that it's totally flexible based on what you want to achieve. And you'll keep hearing me talk about flexibility because I want to hammer home just how much you can do with Memo based on the specific needs that you have for your business and for your guests. So how does Memo work? So first, number 1, you choose your template. We have 6 email templates and 7 text message templates. You can also create your own or tailor the existing templates to your own tone of voice. But if you want to be completely hands-off, our templates are there and you can use them. So you select a template, and then number 2, you create your messaging schedule. So you're able to put in precisely when, before a booking or after a booking, within that pre-booking or post-booking window, when you want to send a message to your guests for all of your reservations. It's super easy. So you choose your sending schedule. You choose who you want to send it to, whether that's the primary guest or someone else. You can manually add, and then you choose the timing. So you choose how many weeks or days or hours before or after the booking window that you want to send a message. You can also hack this a little bit to choose the specific time you want to send messages to. So you can be really precise if you want to send messages 1 hour before arrival, 2 or 3 hours post arrival. So it's a really nice way of kind of setting up this messaging flow based on the specific dates that the guest has with their booking to make sure that you're really automating that really nice flow of messages as they go out to your guests. You can also personalize these messages for each guest, each reservation. So depending how you're integrated with TouchStay, whether you're using a PMS and you're using one of our PMS integrations, or you're using our Airbnb integration, we have that too. If you have one of those integrations set up, all of the booking information, the reservation information will be pulled into TouchStay. So you'll have the guest's name, you'll have their contact details, hopefully, or if not, it'll all flow through the PMS inbox or your Airbnb inbox. So you're able to personalize messages, add information around their arrival time. If they have pets coming, you can pull that into, and you're able to, just have that nice bit of personalization in the message that's going out to them. So you can add these in through what we call custom fields. So that's it. You set up your template. You set the schedule for when you want the message to go. You personalize the message for each guest based on the reservation information that you've pulled in, and that's it. If you're wanting more of a deep dive on Memo, you can scan the QR code on the top right-hand side there, and you can see a previous webinar we've done, which is a real proper deep dive into Memo and the specific ways you can use it. And it's really goes in far more technical detail than this, and it's super helpful. So this is just a bit of an overview for how you can automate a lot of that guest messaging and, make guests really feel loved and taken care of once they've made their booking, pre-arrival and post-arrival too. Super. I'll give you a second to scan that QR code if anyone else wants to. Great. So what else? So I just mentioned that Memo works with our PMS integrations too. So we have 17 integrations overall. 16 of those are with different PMS, property management software providers, and one with the booking platform, which is Airbnb. So if you cast your mind back to the video where I was showing the AI guidebook generator process, I had the option right at the beginning to link my Airbnb account. That's our integration with Airbnb. So it's a super simple flow that you go through to connect your Airbnb account to TouchStay. And with most of our integrations, including Airbnb, you can use these trackable guide links that are created when you sync your bookings, your reservations from your PMS into TouchStay. So all your guides will be automatically sent out to guests through the PMS unified inbox you might be using, or the Airbnb inbox too. So another great way of not just setting up that lovely automated messaging flow, but making sure that they all flow through the inbox that you're already using to communicate with guests and having that all in one place. And crucially, when you use Memo, the guidebook links that are sent out to guests are trackable. So you're able to see specifically down to the individual guest who is opening each guidebook, who isn't opening a guidebook. So you can understand, if guests haven't accessed it, so they're not able to check in, you're able to follow up with them. And it's also just really nice to know that people are using your guidebooks, accessing it, and that the information isn't just going out into the ether. So there we are, nice overview of Memo and how it can work with your property management software or Airbnb. And then a final piece I'll focus on around Memo. Memo works really well with a lot of other TouchStay features. You can combine the use of Memo with these. So for example, we have our first impressions topic. So first impressions is just a little pop-up or a screen in TouchStay that you can send to guests so they can let you know everything's going okay. So normally, this is a section of the guide. The guest is able to give you a star rating and give you a comment and submit that to you. If you send them a memo message just after arrival with the link to that section of the guidebook, they're able to instantly let you know right after they've walked through the door, once they're settling in with a cup of tea, how they're feeling. So if there are any issues or something's not quite right, they can let you know right away. So you can turn a bad experience into a positive experience right away and not let something fester, because we don't want that to happen. We want everyone to have a great time. The next is you can collect emails. So we have our email capture topic, and this helps you collect guest emails in a very friendly and obtrusive way, so you can continue to market them after they leave to help foster those repeat visits and build up some loyalty. So what you can do, again, you can take the link to that email capture section in the Touch Day guidebook, send that to your guest and ask them, just give them a little prompt to give you their email address. So this is a wonderful way of staying in touch. You can also simply send a link through a memo text message or an email to the guest, asking them to leave a review to your review site of choice. So it's a nice way of requesting a review and automating that process. So again, you're not having to ask, you're not having to call them up or send additional emails. It's automated and taken care of for you. And if you want to understand a bit more of how this works specifically, and get some more detailed steps, you can scan the QR code here and it'll give you more information. This also sends you a link to our free guest communications planner. So if you're thinking, okay, memo's great, but what messages should I be sending? How many should I be sending? And when should I be sending them? A guest communication planner is there to give you some inspiration and help answer those questions. Great. So moving on from memo, we're going to hop back now to AI. So I have two more fun ways that AI has been brought into Touch Day, and we've built some features that are available to you and your guests to make hosting a little bit more simple. So these two are really fun and a lot simpler than communications and guidebook creation. You know, these are really fun. I love these. And these are all for your guests. So first off, we have the AI chatbot. So this is really neat. It's currently in beta mode. We've just launched this. So it's brand new. So you're probably some of the first people to be hearing about this. So you can, essentially the AI chatbot transforms your Touch Day guidebook into an instant Q&A assistant for your guests. So this is a conversational tool that's embedded directly within your guidebook and allows guests to ask property-specific questions, such as, what's the Wi-Fi password? Are there any restaurants nearby? And using the information that's already in your guide, the chatbot is able to surface the answers to those questions to your guests. And it's all based on the information that you've provided. So it's not just ChatGPT going off and pulling answers from the ether. No, it's purely based on the information that's already inside your guest book. So you're probably thinking, but I put my guidebook together, or why do I have to have a chatbot? Well, we're all quite lazy, let's be honest. And I know when I'm on holiday, I don't want to be searching for answers. I want the answers provided for me. So now with the chatbot, guests don't have to scroll or click around in your guidebook, and they don't have to ask you for the answer. They can self-serve using the chatbot to get the information they need. So this feature really automates responses to guests. So it saves you time because you don't have to be answering these questions because the information is already there for guests to find themselves. Guests will be feeling looked after and taken care of because the answers they need are at their fingertips, on their phone, in their pocket, in that Touch Day guide. And now just a note, as the AI chatbot is still in beta, responses may not always be perfect, but we're refining this and working with our customers to make sure it's as brilliant as it can be. So you can enable this feature on your account, give it a go. You can access your guides and pretend to be a guest and see how it works for yourself. It's a really nice way of using AI to take what you've already created and spent time making beautiful and full of important information, and just making sure that that gets right in front of the eyes of your guests. Cool. And then another one, which is really nice. So this is brand new. This is a really nice free tool we developed to help you as the hosts, property managers, keep on top of your reviews. We know that on all review sites, really, responding to reviews from a guest, whether it's a positive review you've received or a negative review, we know that helps increase trust and show potential guests that you are engaged and connected, and that you're available to them even after your booking, and that you care about what they have to say. So a lot of PMs and hosts often set aside time each week or even each day, depending on the time of year, to respond to reviews, especially during peak seasons. So we developed this tool to help you respond to reviews more efficiently. And sometimes it's just a good way to get some inspiration and get your review started, so you're not sounding like a canned response. So if you scan the QR code, another QR code, on the bottom of the screen here, this will take you through to the AI review response generator. So you're able to quickly come up with responses to reviews. You're able to show that you're really engaged and you're building trust with your guests. So yeah, this is just another way that we're trying to use AI to deal with some of those kind of not necessarily boring, but maybe time-consuming tasks that really eat into our ability to be efficient and also to respond to our guests, because we know how important that is to, as I say, building trust and showing that important engagement. So scan that QR code, and I recommend bookmarking that page. And when you sit down with a cup of tea ready to respond to your reviews, it's there and ready to help. Great. And what else? So we had a lot of feedback over the last couple of months and last year from customers talking about our experience of using TouchStay from your mobile. On desktop, everything's supersized, nice and easy to use and easy to navigate. But following feedback from customers, we spent time overhauling the mobile experience so we can make sure that when you're on the go and that you're not using TouchStay on your desktop, you actually have that time and the ability to be able to make changes to content and make any adjustments that you need. So we've hopefully made things a little bit easier for you. So we have a new mobile optimized interface. So when you're on the go, you need to change your Wi-Fi password, you need to update, maybe a code hasn't pulled through for a door lock and you need to urgently update something. Or you're just interested in looking at your data dashboard and seeing your real-time metrics on guide use. Maybe you want to understand how things are going during a particularly busy week during peak season. That's now much, much easier to see and to navigate around with on the mobile optimized interface. So to access this, you don't have to do anything except log into TouchStay from your phone, and you'll be able to see at the bottom now, we have a really nice navigation menu. Just like we have for the guides that the guests are using, we have that same navigation now along the bottom. And along the top as well, there's much easier navigation and access, thanks to some rearranged buttons. So it should just make it a lot easier for you to see your guides, make changes as needed, and also understand how they're performing. So it sounds like a little thing, but we had so many customers asking for this. We're really pleased that we've finally been able to bring it to you. So there you go. So this has been a bit of a whirlwind through lots of different themes, lots of different topics. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I'm going to have a look in the chat box and answer your questions. So I can see lots of questions. I hope they're friendly questions. Lovely. Oh, I'm so sorry you couldn't all hear the audio on the video. I changed it and did my own voiceover, so hopefully you could hear that a bit better. Lovely. So one question, I've already built my guidebook, but I don't want to change it, but rather add more by using that AI function. Is there a way of doing that? So once you've created your guidebook, there isn't a way of using that AI function. However, we have another AI content creation tool. So when you're in TouchStay and you are editing content that you've created, no matter where that is in your TouchStay guide, you'll see there's a little button to have AI content creation support. So whilst you're in TouchStay, without having to go out and use another AI tool, we've actually brought that into TouchStay. So if you want to change things or add more from new, you can do that, but you have to do it from the existing template that you've already created. I hope that's helpful. A question from Dana, I hope I'm saying that right. What can we do to be compliant with Airbnb new rules, but still provide information if people want to book directly in the future? That's a great question. We have responded to that in our Facebook group, and I'll share the link on how to access our Facebook group in a moment. But the next webinar that I'm doing in 2 weeks is specifically about this. So it's specifically about how to be compliant with the Airbnb new rules and how that's relevant for your TouchStay guides as well. And a couple of things that you can do to understand more about Airbnb's new summer release, what's changing, what's new, and how to make sure you are compliant, because we know that's super important. You don't want to upset Airbnb, and you want to make sure that you're following all of these new rules as they change. So that's coming up in the webinar in 2 weeks. But I'll share the QR code in a moment to go into our Facebook group, our Facebook community. And in there, you can see how we've responded and given instructions already on how to manage that. Super. Another question. Given that Airbnb does not allow us to collect emails, if we require guests to provide an email to get the digital guide, does this leave out one of... So it's not that Airbnb isn't allowing you to collect emails necessarily. It's that they're wanting you to keep all of that communication in Airbnb and not be encouraging them to go outside of the platform. As I said, we'll get into this in a lot more detail in 2 weeks, but that's a really great question. And I'll make sure that that's addressed in a lot more detail in that next webinar as it's coming up, because there's a lot of intricacies that require a bit more of a deep dive into that one. That's why we've given it its own webinar in 2 weeks' time. Yes, another question, how to get our guidebook to guests when Airbnb rules do not allow links to be messaged to guests. So one of the ways you can do that is by using our integration with Airbnb. So we have an integration directly with Airbnb where you can send the link to your guidebook using memo messages. And those messages will be sent to guests to arrive directly in the Airbnb messaging inbox. And that's how our integration works. If you go through the slides in this, you'll be able to go back and see what I wrote about the Airbnb integration. And if you go onto our website and search for our integrations page, you'll see more about this and how to be able to send that guidebook link to guests through Airbnb. That's still allowed. But again, this Airbnb and communication seems like a really important topic, which it absolutely is. So we'll go into this a lot more 2 weeks from now. I am just checking my messages. Oh, to confirm, that webinar is the 25th of June. 25th of June. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. So make sure to come back and join us on the 25th of June. But in the meantime, there's lots of conversation about this in our Facebook community group. So go in there, ask your questions. There's, I think, nearly 3,000 property managers and hosts in there discussing these kinds of topics and specifically how they relate to Touch Day. So I really recommend joining that group, because this is the kind of stuff that's being talked about all the time, and you'll hear from Touch Day and what we have to say and to support around these topics, but also what your peers are doing as well. Lovely. A question. I don't want to duplicate messages to guests coming from 2 sources. That's a little technical because you're talking about your integration with OwnerRez. Hi, Tom, you've asked this question. You currently use that OwnerRez integration and have integrated with Touch Day. Do you recommend messaging originating via OwnerRez or Touch Day? I can't remember. I don't believe the OwnerRez integration is one where we do send the link to the... So you have to pop the generic guidebook link into one of your messages going from OwnerRez, and we would recommend you can do both. So you can send messages to guests through OwnerRez. We absolutely recommend that. They have a wonderful unified inbox solution. You can also send additional or complementary messages through Touch Day, specifically if you want to send guidebook links that have that trackable part on them, or you can just take your generic Touch Day link and pop that into one of your OwnerRez message templates as well. So that's one way of doing that too. Lovely. I'm just going back through the questions to see if there's anything else. I think that's it. And we've gone through that very fast. I do speak quite fast, don't I? Does anyone else have any other questions? If not, I'm just going to share my screen again so you can all get access to 2 final resources that I think are really, really important. So go on to the next slide. So thank you for joining. Hopefully this has been useful and interesting, and hopefully the QR codes along the way have given you some inspiration and links to other resources where you can go and learn more. If there's a specific topic you'd love us to cover or something you'd like more detail on that I haven't talked about today, pop that in the Q&A box, and we'll make sure that that's addressed either through the next webinar, a post that we can put in our community group, or however we would find the best way of answering that question. We're always happy to answer your specific questions on these webinars, and then of course in other ways too. So the two resources you have here. So on the left, you have the guest communication study, which I've mentioned already, which is just jam-packed full of really useful information. It's from 2 years ago, but it's still super, super relevant. And now as there's more and more complexities around how you can communicate with guests and what best practices, this is a really great starting point for understanding the hows and the whys of sharing information with guests. And on the right-hand side, this is the QR code to join our Facebook group. I love this group. It's so active, and it's not just Touch Day posting. It's people from all around the world managing their businesses, their short-term rental, vacation rental businesses. And it's just a gold mine of information and a great place to go to feel supported by folks in your community. So I'll highly recommend you download the guest communication study, and that you scan the link to join the Facebook group. Thank you so much. We have a final question. How many people only have one property that use Touch Day? I don't have a specific answer to that. We know that a lot of our customers start off with one guide and then they grow as their business grows. We're all about, we have customers that have hundreds, even I think one or two that have more than 1,000 properties. So they have 1,000 guides. And we obviously, the solutions I've talked about today, we have different ways of onboarding and scaling if you have that number of properties. But we also work with lots of customers that are just starting out or only have one property because that's their business, and that's how it's a side hustle for them, or it's an additional property they have. So we actually do work with quite a number of customers who only have one property. And Touch Day is whether you have 1,000 properties or one, Touch Day really is, because it's such a flexible solution, it's a great way of enhancing your guest experience, whether you're a huge property management business or you're a one property one-man band, one-woman band. But yeah, join our community group to learn more. And lovely. I don't think there are any more questions. So thank you all very, very much for taking the time today. And those of you that join on the rewatch, hello and thank you for joining as well. And I hope you all have a great rest of day wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.